Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We are of course talking more about today's European Championship action. Today, Group C and half of Group D kicked off their Euro 2020 campaigns. In Group C, we saw Austria take on Macedonia. We also then saw in the evening game, Ukraine take on the Netherlands. And in Group D, England kicked off their Euro 2020 campaign with a victory against Croatia. We're going to be talking about all the results, all of them games. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back to talking about today's Euro 2020 action. We're going to begin with the first game today that kicked off, and it was of course England in Group D. They kicked off their Euro 2020 campaign in the perfect way possible with a 1-0 victory over Croatia. Raheem Sterling scored the only goal of the game in the second half, following being played through on goal by Calvin Phillips, and he did well to finish beyond the Croatian goalkeeper. It was a game in which England were fairly comfortable, in all honesty. Croatia didn't really trouble Gareth Southgate's side too much in front of goal. England didn't create a lot up front either in front of Croatia's goal, but they obviously took the chances when they had. And the only notable chances that England did have, other than the goal of course, was Phil Foden hitting the post early on in the first half, and Harry Kane was also denied from close range by some excellent defending by a Croatian defender, which resulted in the striker accidentally colliding with the post. But the bottom line here is that England pick up all 3 points on the opening day of their Euro 2020 campaign thanks to a 1-0 victory over Croatia. Bottom line, great start for England, great start for the Three Lions, a clean sheet, all 3 points, a very good way to start Group D. There were a few eyebrows raised at the choices that Gareth Southgate made on his team selection, but I think overall he got away with it. Calvin Phillips was outstanding in midfield and for me personally was man of the match. Raheem Sterling got his goal. Maybe that will give him some sort of confidence going forward in this competition, and the defence was pretty solid not to give Croatia anything in front of goal. England should go on and see the rest of this group out now and advance comfortably to the knockout stages, but they have to obviously get there first and will immediately turn their attention to their huge game on Friday night, which is against rivals Scotland. Switching gears now to Group C, where Austria kicked off their Euro 2020 campaign with a 3-1 victory over Macedonia, the competition's lowest ranked nation in this tournament. Austria opened the scoring in the first half. Stefan Leiner meeting Marcel Sabitzer's cross and guiding the ball calmly into the back of the net in what was a very good goal indeed and a very good finish overall. Then Austria suffered a defensive nightmare, a defensive catastrophe, a defensive car crash when two Austrian defenders had a bit of a mix-up at the back, and then the Austrian goalkeeper didn't help matters by rushing out, dropping the ball, and it allowed Goran Pandev the simple task of rolling the ball into an empty net to draw Macedonia level. However, with 12 minutes of the game remaining, Austria went ahead yet again. David Alaba's cross was met by Michael Gregoric, and his cool finish broke the deadlock yet again. Marko Arnautovic went on to secure the victory for Austria, running through on goal very late on, rounding the Macedonian goalkeeper and finishing very well to make sure that Austria secured all 3 points on day one of Group C's Euro 2020 campaign. It was actually more of an interesting, intriguing and entertaining game than I think people were actually going to think it would be. It was a bit feisty in places. There were a few good goals mixed in there as well. Let's face it, Macedonia have nothing to lose, and no one's expecting them to do anything in this tournament, given how low in the FIFA World Rankings they are, and given that the group that they're in, and the lack of quality that they possess. And you kind of saw that a little bit today. They made it difficult for Austria. They had nothing to lose, like I say, and they've got nothing to lose going forward. as this competition progresses. I think just towards the end of the game, they just tired a little bit, and that kind of gave Austria the advantage, and Austria's quality in the end proved too much for them, and in the end they did put them to the sword in the end, and that's why they got the winning 2 goals, so to speak. But as for Austria, an excellent start, of course. That puts them in good stead to go on and qualify from this group, whether it's in the top 2 automatic places or in that weird kind of 3rd place mini league that this format has in this competition, where the 4 best teams out of the 6 to finish 3rd progress to the knockout stages. It's a bit weird. I don't understand it and I don't like it, but that's the way it is. But of course they've got to get there. They have to get there if they by competing in their next 2 games, and they've got they've got 2 very big games coming up in the form of the Dutch side on Thursday night, and then the final group game, which is of course against Ukraine. So 2 very big games on the horizon for the Austrians. And finally, in the evening game of Group C, a 5-goal thriller played out between the Netherlands and the Ukraine, with the Netherlands coming out as 3-2 winners to kick off their Euro 2020 campaign. It was a very entertaining game, end-to-end throughout, but particularly in the first half. The Netherlands had the majority of the possession and the better of the chances, but Ukraine did look dangerous on the counter-attack. Netherlands had very good chances through the likes of Gini Wijnaldum, who was denied by the Ukrainian goalkeeper, and Denzel Dumfries, who should have done better with a header from close range, but the first half did remain goalless. In the second half though, Netherlands finally took their chances. First, former Liverpool midfielder and now current PSG midfielder Gini Wijnaldum fired the Dutch in front, and just before the hour mark, Weghorst doubled the lead in the favour of the Netherlands, following a VAR scare for offside. The check was over, the check was complete, it was found to be onside. Netherlands were 2-0 up. Then came the fight back. Then came Ukraine in the space of 4 minutes, a fight back, a comeback, and at the start of that was Andrei Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko managed to grab a goal back for Ukraine with a superb left-footed strike from outside the penalty area. A typical Yarmolenko strike, and in my opinion, the goal of the tournament so far. That set up an interesting final quarter of an hour, but it only took a few minutes later for the comeback to be complete. Roman Yaremchuk headed home from a free kick to make it 2-2 and set up a final 10 minutes that was set to be well and truly game on. Then, in insane fashion, the Netherlands got back in front. Ukraine playing themselves into trouble, and they ended with Nathan Ake crossing the ball in, and it was met by Dumfries, who this time produced a much better header, getting his header on target. Too hot for the goalkeeper to handle, and the ball crawled into the back of the net, and that proved to be the winning goal for the Netherlands to give them all 3 points at the start of their Euro 2020 campaign. Well, what a game. The best game of the tournament so far, easily. It was entertaining, it was end-to-end, it had plenty of goals, some very good goals in there as well. These 2 teams should still go on to qualify for the knockout stages regardless of this result that obviously went in the favour of the Netherlands. But if the first game is anything to go by of these 2 teams, then they both could be very entertaining sides to watch as this tournament progresses. This was certainly some game. A game that Netherlands almost bottled by throwing away a 2-goal lead, but they did manage to pull through in the end and find that winning goal and kick off their European Championship campaign in the perfect way. Truly exceptional game. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What did you make of today's Euro 2020 action? What did you make of England's performance against Croatia? What did you make of Austria coming out as winners against Macedonia, and what did you make of the Netherlands-Ukraine game? I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section. I'm sure that will make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you all again soon in another video.